Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. They looking for a film that has big time camp. What B-movie will be the ultimate champ? You might think they crazy, might think they disease, but they watch all the shot to find the best of the bees. It's Stan, Jim, Jack, and Nick who watch till it's finished. But their love for these movies can be diminished. And maybe the film's plot has no rhyme or reason, but that's part of the jam. Oh, and Brad of the season. It's the low-budget film that it is most true. They find in the flick that's most Boogaloo. Kung Fu, electric Boogaloo. Ooh, ooh, electric Boogaloo. Kung Fu, electric Boogaloo. Ooh, ooh, electric Boogaloo.
Yagmala! Yagmala! Welcome back, my friends, to the Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. I am your host, 8th Dan Stanadu. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, we are gonna talk some one-shit wonders this day, this season. Oh, so beautiful. And this time we are talking about Phase 4. And I am going to introduce my friend James Cotta, who's going to tell us why he chose Phase 4 for the season.
I saw this on VHS in the 1980s, and I have never forgotten this movie. So when I was looking through lists of directors who only had one film, this popped up, and I said, I got to put this one into the mix. It's time for some ants eating people to happen on the show.
That's right. We are moving away from our typical B movie to go with an ant movie. But
I saw what you did there. I get it.
Yeah, there you go.
I get it.
Yeah, I see what he was trying for. It didn't really work, though.
No, don't tell him that, though. He doesn't need to know.
B. Okay.
All right, Jack Hall, how you doing?
Took me a minute.
Jack Hall.
Jack Hall.
Keep going. Go on to the next guy.
Okay, Nick Bogser.
Greetings and salutations. I enjoyed my ant porn, and I can't wait to share it with you.
Yeah, no doubt. For anybody who's got an ant fetish, then Phase 4 is for you.
I would have thought you'd be more into uncle porn, but hey, all right.
Oh, it's a good day for puns now. All right. Well, the best part now, of course, is that we get Nick Boxer's explanation of Phase 4, or perhaps more to the point, Phases 1 through 3.
Yes, this is not a complex movie. It seems to be experimenting a little bit with a narrative style, but the actual plot is not that complicated. Ants start behaving differently and killing some farm animals. And two scientists bring their lab out to the desert to try to figure out what the hell's going on. The two scientists I'm calling Dr. Grumpy and Dr. Pitstains.
Okay.
The movies we watched, Pitstains could be his real last name.
Yeah, that actually is funnier than the movie.
Dr. Pitstains is obsessed with communicating with animals, but he doesn't actually want to, have contact with them. And Professor McGrumpy is, he has a bit of a little, Moby Dick thing going on with ants. I don't completely understand. But they wage war with ants and talk to ants for this entire movie, and that's what this movie is. I never understood any of the phases. Did anybody?
I was considering your description as Phase 1, and then the discussion of the movie would be Phase 2.
And scoring is then Phase 3, and
that's right.
And our next episode, Rotor, is Phase 4. Okay, all right.
I'm still trying to figure out what the hell they meant when they said they were going to attack them with pure yellow. I mean, it was yellow, but what the hell was it? Is it pure 100%? We'll get them with 100% pure yellow.
And next
Dude, man,
is
you got
pure
ants
purple.
gone awry, and you build a multi-million-dollar thing out in the desert. Come on, I mean, the yellow is the least of it.
I love that it is just shy 8 minutes before the first human is in this
Oh
movie.
boy,
Of
that
an
first
84-minute movie.
that first
I
8 minutes.
I don't
ooh.
mind telling you. It was the first time I looked to say how much is left was 5 minutes in. I was watching this. I
5
hate
minutes in,
ants.
you're like, I'm pretty sure that Jim just gave us a Mutual of Omaha film.
Yeah, I hate
It's
ants.
like Wild Kingdom or something.
I did. I literally thought you were messing with us.
Lauren Green's New Wilderness.
I texted Jim and said I didn't realize I needed to be an entomologist to watch this movie. You know?
You don't have to be, but by the end of it, you are.
Yeah, that's for sure. Oh, I understand so much about the ant kingdom now.
This movie does qualify as course credit. There is an enormous amount of narration in this film, much of it explaining things about ants.
Unnecessary exposition of. I mean, they use every form, not only narration. They talk to themselves. I don't think two characters in this movie have a conversation.
What I'd like to know is when you said what was it, 8.5 minutes you say before humans show up?
7 minutes 50 that we get the first.
7:50. So is that the first time that the truck happens, or is that after the truck has been driving for 7 minutes?
That'll be the introduction of the truck, and then we've got another minute. Or
So
two
then another 7 or 8 minutes before
I believe
music and a truck driving.
Yeah, I believe it's after 10 minutes by the time
Oh, yeah.
by the time
Like,
a
that
human
truck goes
is
on
actually
forever.
visual. Yes.
And forget
somebody
about
steps
cutting
out of
away
the
if somebody has to walk from one building to the other. No, this is real time.
The ant camera work in this movie is astounding.
Oh my lord!
Ridiculously high res. I don't know how you get those shots, but
And they fit. The thing is that I don't know how they did it in such a way that like those ant shots fit the story that they're trying to tell. Whether it's like, oh, we have like the leader ant who's telling the subservient ants what to do, and it looks like that. You can tell it's like, oh, well, I get it. Even without their narration, which I've already forgotten. But
yeah, no. And it is also worth noticing that that they used a different. They didn't even, that wasn't even like an ant. I can't remember what they used, but they used a different bug than an actual ant for the queen for some reason. Because they didn't want to kill off the actual hive by somehow. So they used a different bug altogether for the queen.
Well, I was thinking that like only 8 billion ants were killed in the making of this movie.
Yeah, it could have been 8,000,000,001.
Yeah, I don't think PETA's ever really paid attention to ants, so they got to pass on that.
Yeah.
Dude, PETA pays attention to everything. They are hardcore.
Yeah. What year is this movie? Maybe they weren't quite as active as.
I think it was 1974.
1974. Yeah. Other movies were still tripping horses by this in 1974.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All they did was smush some ants.
Heaven's Gate blew up a horse in 1980. Come on.
That's right. It's just ants and a praying mantis. I mean, come on.
Oh boy, yeah, the praying mantis.
I kept.
Did we ever actually get Nick's? I don't think we did. Did we?
Yeah, I finished. I'm done.
That was it. That was all of it. That's all you got.
What else happened?
This
is not a fast-paced movie, man.
That's true.
Two scientists go out to the desert, and then there's ants that sort of attack and talk, and next thing we know, we're rolling the credits, and I'm going, "What the hell happened here?"
You know what?
I could have mentioned the girl, but the movie didn't seem to care. So why should I?
I would call this movie 2001 with ants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think that's really fair. Yeah, it's incredibly hard to watch. At the same time,
Would you say it's bad?
No, I would not.
I was bored out of my mind. I didn't understand a thing, yet I kind of enjoyed the experience.
Well, because at the end, it screams that, like, 1970s sci-fi horror, like, tension filmmaking style.
I was thinking about Michael Crichton a lot during this movie. Sexually.
Of course.
That's so it's like every other movie.
But that 70s sci-fi, like late 60s to like basically when Star Wars came out. I mean, Star Wars changed the way that sci-fi was from then on, or created made sci-fi fantasy. But this was kind of that era of Soylent Green and Logan's Run and Planet of the Apes in '68. Like that's kind of the peak of the hard sci-fi, because this is something has happened that may or may not involve space that makes the ants gain a sentience. And
you could have named about
wait, was
15
space
more movies.
mentioned in this movie? I missed something.
Well, it was shown it was phase 1.
Yeah, phase 1
Okay.
is like it shows you planets and the stars.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no. We spent a lot of montages on everything. I just thought maybe they'd hint at it with a comet or something there, but they didn't.
I love that.
Oh, go ahead.
I love that dramatically how they expressed the ants have changed is that the ants start having meetings.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's true.
So
I was thinking
in
I
other
missed
words,
something with
they're
that.
they're like COVID humans.
That's right. Only they can be within 2 links of each other.
It's like I say, it's a unforgettable experience. I'll give you that. Did any of you watch the ending that they originally had that I sent you the link for on YouTube? That
Oh no, I have not watched it yet.
No, I totally forgot.
No, okay. I said, it's too bad you guys didn't watch that. It's we'll pause while you go watch it. I'm not even kidding. I think we should. I really think you should go watch it. It's about 4.5 minutes.
Is that the 4-minute montage that they did?
Yeah, it's a 4-minute montage, and it's the actual original ending. Get this, because the movie's like 84 minutes, so the studio cut the original ending because they thought it was too long. So, so we got it down to 84 minutes instead of 88. So.
Nice.
But it's a better ending. Though it probably, I guess it's just a little more clear on where they're going with. Whereas in the ending that you have on this, I think you probably get it, but it is a little bit ambiguous. It's more obvious that the ants conquered the Earth, and that humans are completely underfoot of them and obeying them in the other one, and they do it with a bunch of weird images, but it's really like beautiful at the same time as being really strange. It's something to see.
What?
In fact, that's why I sent you the link.
We'll get there. We didn't want it to change how we're going to score this movie. It shouldn't impact us.
I said watch it after.
Well, yeah, but I can't watch it after and before we do this.
Exactly. I'll watch it. I will watch it after we score.
What are you talking about? You're making as much sense as yellow. 100% yellow. Next time I'll get them with 100% blue, but they'll just adapt like they did to the yellow.
I didn't have a problem with the yellow. Tech people always have a nickname for their stuff.
That's right.
But what is it?
Well,
of all the stuff,
it's stuff that
I had a
kills
bigger problem
ants and
with
people.
white noise.
I mean, if they were gonna, if they said tetrahydrochloroizine, would that have turned things around for you?
So much better now. So much. It rolls off the tongue.
I'm so glad they told me.
No, the yellow was cool. I want some yellow to.
I'm so glad they made chemical makeup of that yellow instead of
Well,
just on.
Right now, Nick, you probably
Strangely,
could
it's the only
use
thing they don't
yellow.
explain.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
fairness,
my
they
Lord.
go into great detail on everything else, so there's that.
Speaking of technical details, they explain white noise in here, and Stan, you're our audio guy.
Oh
Is white noise the absence of sound,
no, well,
or
I mean,
That-
I
or the
thought it was
flood of sound?
everything sound. I mean,
Okay, they got it right. I learned something.
because it's like the absence of sound would be wonderful. I mean,
Yeah, I had to mute a good 5 minutes of this movie because I'm not good with high pitched sounds.
oh boy, when they got
And
to
then
that stuff, it was like, woo.
Yes, they're what they're doing is they need a resonating frequency for anthills. Basically, the ants have come up with a way to reflect the sun's rays against their what do you call those things?
Uh,
Towers?
No, the dome.
the biodome kind of thing, whatever.
Yeah, there's a right term for that, but anyway, and so they have to come up with a resonating frequency to get those things to break, and they come up with this high pitched noise. But they don't just play it outside and then come back in and you don't hear it. No, you hear it nonstop for 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
People's mouths would move, so I'd unmute it and they're just over that high pitched noise. Good, that's good.
Man, I'll tell you, Rotor Cop would never survive that.
Yeah, they could. I mean, they didn't do great against the ants, but they could have taken out Rotor. It's like a crossover episode where we start talking.
Yeah. I was just about to make a joke about Rotor, and then I thought, no, I'm going to save it.
I love that. I think
we need to get to scoring.
Yeah, I think we can go right to scoring.
I think so.
Anything on my list is going to come up in scoring.
It's a movie about ants. A lot of fucking ants.
In our
But
search
it's
for
not
the
them.
No, it is not. It's not them, and it's not us, and it's not. There must be a movie with giant. There's another movie that's giant.
It's not the Swarm
It's not-
either.
There's
It's also
tons of
not
movies with giant ants. We should do a whole season on it.
Yeah,
But
it's
just not
Ant.
watch this again.
It's not Ant. I mean, it's not DreamWorks Ants.
Mm.
So,
That's a little blue.
all right. In our search for the ultimate B movie, we rate each film in 5 categories. None of those categories are objective quality. The first one we call schlock appeal, and we start with Stan.
Yeah, I have a hard time with this one because as I think we've mentioned before, there was a lot of not enjoying watching the movie, but at the same time, there's an overarching feeling which I did enjoy. Now that being said, that feeling is part of that hard sci-fi 70s feel, which I actually don't feel is particularly Boogaloo. Now, there's a lot of elements within this that are Boogaloo, but it's not. But it's not like an enjoyable. Oh my god, this is so 80s fun Boogaloo. I'm going to give it a 4.
It's definitely
Yeah,
not 80s. I'll give you that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was so not the 80s, man. It failed.
Yeah, this is like the opposite of Boogaloo. They're going for the intelligentsia angle. They're going to teach you something, and you're going to learn something, and we're going to reinvent film by showing you ants for way too long. I can only go as high as a 2 for schlock appeal.
Ooh, man, I thought this was super schlocky. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I thought it was very schlocky. I didn't think it was as appealing, but it didn't really cause my enjoyment. But I'm like, boy, is the schlock over there. I got a 7, actually.
I'm also at a 7. It's ants attacking people and building shit and having meetings, and it's built around about 10 minutes of super duper close-ups of ants.
Yeah,
Only 10 minutes.
Which is,
and
I mean,
then-
that's such a 50s sci-fi thing to just build it around a whole bunch of footage of an animal.
and then you have a great actor like Nigel Davenport hamming it up, and and the female lead. I mean, she's supposed to be quite a great actress as well. So I mean, you couldn't tell from this. She came across like
Barely
somebody who was-
talks.
well, I was thinking like I had written down she came across like, well, I don't write anything down, but I had written down in my head she comes across like a like a concussed small farm animal.
She was in shock. It made sense.
She got over them killing her grandparents with yellow really fast.
Really fast.
Yeah,
really
yeah,
fast.
it really did.
I mean, it was a stressful day.
Yeah.
I love that one of the guys says to her, "You sort of had a close call out there. Like her grandparents and their farmhand are dead, and it's a close call."
Well, she was really sad about the horse, though. So,
Yes, it's
you
true.
know,
She
it
was
was
way
just
more
too
upset
much.
about the horse than that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, Batch.
good point. Oh man!
All right, our next category is called More Heart Than Budget. I don't know that we pulled up a budget. Did you come across one, Jack?
I couldn't come across one. I know it was a small enough budget that they had to. There was talk about some of the corners they had to cost to make it. So I mean, there was talk about it. It was a small budget, but the actual
Wait,
amount.
we can figure this out. What is the market price for ants at this point?
Do you buy? They're by weight, aren't they?
How many ant wranglers do you need per 1,000 ants?
I remember there was one bit where they had done like where the ant did something specific. I'm like, man, whoever had to train these ants, and I'm like, God, for fuck's sakes, no, that can't be. Think again, like work this problem again.
Yeah, it's a tough one too because without an actual budget, it's kind of weird because I feel like they kind of got what they were going for. They told this, sci-fi story. Obviously, they didn't get the ending that they wanted in, but I mean, it features a very limited amount of actors, definitely way out in the middle of nowhere. So, I mean, I see how they could do a lot of things that would come through where you didn't need a ton of extra budget. I'm going to go with a 7.
The only reason they didn't get the ending they wanted is the studio, not because they didn't film it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This has heart. You don't get this movie without, having some drive behind it. They wanted to say something. And this movie says it. I don't know what it says, but it says it. So I'm going to go all the way up to Nate.
It's I mean, this is also a very popular cult classic. I mean, not overly famous, but it's got a very, very strong following. So I think 7 is a good, a good solid number for it.
Yeah, I'll go with a 7 as well. It's interesting because we talked about a lot of these. A lot of the one-shit wonder directors that we're doing this season. I think we forgot to explain one-shit wonders.
And this director
are folks that are, have people that directed one film and then they went on to another thing in film, or they stopped doing film entirely. Saul Bass had already had a ridiculously successful career doing something else.
For sure.
And then
I
this
really
is
hope
kind of the
it
tail
involved
end.
ants.
No.
Well, he didn't shoot the ant footage. There was somebody else who did that, who was an award-winning nature photographer person type thing. So.
God, I was really hoping you were going to end with ant videographer.
That's what I meant.
So good, so good.
There's an awards show that's worth going to, by the way. It's the ant Oscars. All right. What the fuck moments?
It follows its narrative pretty well. I mean, there's obviously the fact that it takes you 10 minutes to actually see a human step out is kind of what the fuck, because it's just like, wow, dude, when do I get to watch the movie? Because right now, because I was thinking to myself, is this a movie or is this entirely starring ants? Now, if it was entirely starring ants, I probably would have given it a 10 in many categories. The Phase 4 thing really threw me off, because we had Phase 1, we had Phase 2, we had Phase 3, and then apparently Phase 4 is post the movie, so that part was a little weird. It was just like, huh? but yeah, as a whole, like, I found that that I mean, I kind of anticipated a lot of the things. There's some crazy overacting in random moments, and just reactions like we talked about the girl, and it's just like, oh yeah, well, my grandparents died, but whatever. So those things are what the fuck, but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it a 5.
I am so happy right now. Oh, yes. You did not mention the ant funeral.
Oh, yeah. That was on my list.
When all the white ants are dead and they're all lined up in perfect graves, and the ants are all surrounding them, seemingly mourn them, and the music swells, and it's this really long... Well, there are a lot of really long ant scenes in this movie.
It's like an ant
The
Arlington
music
cemetery.
swells, and it is absolutely clear that the filmmakers want you to have emotional experience. They want you on the ant side at this point. They're using all their emotional tools.
The
and
horrors
it's an ant
of war.
funeral. I loved it. I loved that scene. I rewound and watched it like 4 times. Yeah, other than that, I mean, there are a couple other WTFs, but I can't go higher than a 7. I enjoyed what was there, but
I had forgotten completely about that, and when you point that out, that is a strong WTF. I think you just added a point for me, because I was going to give it a 4. Now I'm going up to a 5, because that's a strong one, and because I could have gone. I mean, there's not a ton really. I mean, it's just like, remember when I said Spookies was weird? My bad. This is like the strangest. This movie is so weird, and that kind of leads to an overall feeling that you're watching something that's WTF, but it's not. It's just kind of the style of what it is, and the choices are strange. But yeah, I do think, I don't know how long the movie takes place over, because they're talking at the beginning about how they need to get picked up in 10 days, and they're saying we can't say guaranteed 10 days, and maybe 2 weeks, and then clearly they're there for several days though, and I understand why the girl would only have one set of clothes. She ran out in the middle of the night because her house was attacked by ants, and she has what she's wearing. Why did the guys who were clearly there for several days never change their clothes once?
Because they didn't have a shower. So.
They had a shower. They showed that at the beginning when they all had to shower from the yellow. I don't know, man. Like, that to me was a big WTF. But that was really the only one that really stood out for me.
It was just a decontamination shower. Or something.
Yeah,
really, the girl leaving the house and nobody actually even noticing didn't strike you? Not to mention she didn't wear shoes.
She knew what she was doing. She was sacrificing herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just think somebody would have had a conversation. Like, you don't...
The size of the geodesic dome is the term I was looking for there. The size of the geodesic dome seemed to vary from scene to scene, because she sneaks out, like you said, she sneaks out of the dome without anyone seeing her for hours. And yet other times it really looks to be like one small room. So it's that does get mushy. I am there's one image though in this movie. So after all the poison and everything, there's like some dead guys, and one guy has his hand clenched, tight closed, and they pry his hand open, and there's 3 holes in his hand, and it's very clear that the ants have hidden inside this guy to avoid the poison. And that image was burned into my mind as a kid, and I honestly thought that's what ants could do.
How old were you when you saw this?
10 or 11.
Yeah, I could see this movie actually being horrifying at 10 or 11.
Yeah, I'd say because it would have been early days of VHS when there wasn't that many options. Like I wouldn't have grabbed this movie on an average day. It would have been like there's just not that much to rent.
And this VHS was in every discount bin, as I remember.
But man, it looks good in high definition, doesn't it? So that image and the ant funeral is incredible, and the ant meetings, just the overall drive of ant. Like, I mean, if this had been chimpanzees or something. Like, I mean, I think there is a movie where there's the whole planet gets taken over by apes.
No, I don't think so. It's a concept, though.
I like it.
So
I like it.
Because of childhood trauma, I'm all the way up to an 8. Memorable moments.
I'm gonna remember ants. Gonna remember ants for sure. When it comes down to the story, I think this one is going to be largely forgettable overall, just because it's so slow. I think that would be my big problem. But for ants alone, I'll give it a 6.
Oh, I'm going higher. I mean, this was a slog that, I had to work to like this movie, and I do like this movie. Not to mention, it's sort of the smartest ants take over the world movie out there.
It is. Again, ant Oscars. This movie did very well.
So, yeah, 8. I think it's going to stick with me.
I think. Well, I personally found the ending sequence, the real one, very, very memorable.
I imagine it will be. Yeah,
but that's not part of our scoring. So,
yeah, I got a 6.
6. That image of the hand, and also that the ants build these giant ant hills that they take all the reflecty sand and make like a glass mirror surface so that it reflects the sun rays, and they're going to cook the humans. I've never forgotten that image. That image is why this came back up when I was put together this season. So 9 for me, because I know that I'm going to remember it.
Yes,
because I have for like 25 years.
Yeah.
That said, I mean, there's not a whole lot else of the movie that I remember other than really, I was waiting for the part where the ants try to kill them. I know that part's coming. So, crazy concept.
Yeah, is it? I guess I'm not really sure if it's a crazy concept for ants taking over humanity. What I think is a crazy concept is that the movie is called Phase 4, and that we had to kind of deal with 3 phases before that loosely attempted to explain why ants were taking over the world. So based on that, I'll give it a 5.
That disapproving grunt right there.
I'm not sure if it was disapproving or if he just doesn't know how to score it either.
It could be that too.
Yeah. I think it's the latter rather than the former. So yeah, 5. Next.
These type of any sort of animals, including these, ants, and it's not the first ants take over the world movie. It's not even the first things get smarter movie. That's not that. What is unique about it, what is a crazy concept about it, is the execution. Like, it's really, you have to when you said it's 2001 with ants, that's not far off.
No,
that's insane. So I think it's not overall like as a pitch. You'd be like, yeah, that sounds like something somebody would do. So I would give it a 5.
Very well. It's the execution that's insane.
Yeah, exactly. The concept isn't, the execution is, so that gives it a 5.
All right. Well, I'll toe the line and give it a 7. At the end of balloting, we have 6 secret modifiers. This film has none of them. One of the modifiers is that they found their calling in a different area of film, but basically he was pretty close to the end of his career and had been ridiculously successful in something else before this.
Yeah, for sure.
Which isn't really what we were going for with that modifier. But that does bring it to a final total of a pretty respectable 62.5 out of 100. And that puts it just ahead of Dracula versus Frankenstein and right behind Cast a Deadly Spell.
Okay.
Right in that 60s where there's kind of a slot in the 60s where the well-made movies that are still kind of weird kind of seem to land.
Yeah, that have
Not
some
that
weird moments.
Well, we don't have to worry about that with the next movie.
Nope, no, we don't.
Does it have some words?
Yeah, it's possible it does. All right. Well, before we speak about that next movie, then Jim, let's do some business.
All right. You can find that Octagon we mentioned earlier on wetalkpodcast.com. And also, they are our show sponsor, and you can follow them on Facebook and on Twitter. And we are on Instagram at Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo. And please subscribe to the show on YouTube and your favorite podcast app.
All right. Well, as we mentioned before and alluded to, our next movie is Rotor. So that one's I think we're gonna have to talk about that. Plus, we're choosing our season pitches for we've all got our season pitches, and we're going to choose which season we're going to do next, since that's all we have time to do now is watch Boogaloo movies and record Boogaloo shows. But there's nothing wrong with that at all. Okay, so this is One Shit Wonder, and does anybody else have anything to say? Nope. Excellent.
I think now is the time we start phase 4.
yes, it's time for phase 4. All right, for Jim, for
what
Jack.
What an answer behind COVID, man.
Makes more sense, as much sense as anything.
Sure, as good as it gets. For Jim, for Jack,
I believe ants did eat a bat.
Well, they ate several animals in this, but
yeah.
Yep. All right.
They went into a guy's hand.
yeah, it's true. They had multiple holes in several people, I think. But for Jim, for Jack, and for Nick, I am your host, 8th Dan Stanadu, and thanks for listening to the Kung Fu Electric Boogaloo.
Next few moments, we will try to give you an impression of a new kind of film experience. If your curiosity is aroused, you are ready for Phase 4.
They're sending back my message.
What does it mean?
This is no message.
If there's an intelligence there, I wanted to know there's an intelligence here. I believe that they'll move rather quickly into desert areas, taking over the countryside first, then laying siege to towns and cities. We have only one chance. Why don't they kill us? What do they want?
How do you fight a force that knows what your next move will be before you think of it?